It's a new comic book day at the shop. Um, it's pretty cold out. Um, Yesterday was cold and windy. No sun for most of the day, but it was free cone day. So even though people weren't out shopping, lots of people were going and getting cones and therefore stopping in. Today, after we had a bunch of days in the 60s last week, I think people are all like, not me, I'm not going out. So it's been pretty dead here. Had a few customers who pick up Wednesday stuff, but really nowhere near what I usually have. I think the weather, it's just that. Plus, obviously, people are really worried about their money. We've talked about that a lot with a lot of people. Even though currently it looks like, I really don't want to say this, but currently it looks like graphic novels, comic books will not be included in most of these tariff costs, and paper and other things like that are covered in other protections with the tariffs. Hey, Joe. So the ABA put out a statement about it saying, look, books, according to the way tariffs are currently constructed in the United States, books should not be affected. But paper could be, but paper from Canada and Mexico is covered in this and this thing, so it should be affected. We don't know, but we think these things are safe, except the cost of doing all of it is going to go up a little bit, and that little bit is going to be very bad for books. If the cost of making books goes up 5 to 10%, and the cost of books goes up 5 to 10%, that's a lot for a bookstore. So that's interesting what the ABA said. So yeah, I think that people are still worried, even though maybe they're not worried about their comics going up in price. There are other things that are going up in price. So that, combined with it's a little cold out, it's a pretty dead day. I did a bunch of other things. I'm very overtired. I didn't sleep well last night. So it's been a little hard to get myself started on this. But I put some people who get their stuff shipped and people who infrequently pick up their books. I put their book orders together and tried to get them ready to go. Joe, I actually didn't see. I saw that you answered me about the Bess Hunchback, but I didn't see the answer. I just saw that you had sent it. I forgot and jumped right on here. But now that I'm on here, before you give me your answer, Joseph, let's look at the new books this week. We've got, still have not sold, last week's Chris Caruso Lincoln covers. So we've got all the Chris Caruso Lincoln covers that have been released so far. Uncanny X-Men, latest issue of Storm, latest issue of Lower Decks, latest Savage Dragon, latest Hello Darkness, G.I. Joe, Doctor Strange, Batman Dark Patterns, and this one, which I want to talk about a little bit more, Batman and Robin number 20. We're going to come back to that one. Green Lantern Corps number 3, the new Green Lantern. This is the last, obviously, big... got it. This is the last one that we're getting shelf copies for, 1, 2, 3. We probably will not get a lot of copies on the shelf for 4. The latest Absolute Batman, the latest Ultimates. That's the ongoing. Look, notice how the ongoing is shrinking and shrinking. We are trying to avoid doing this in the future. Probably, I would say some point in late May, June, you're going to literally see a quarter as many books of the new releases. Then you get to things that are number ones and standalone. We've got a new Mad magazine. We're Taking Everyone Down With Us, the new dark spy thriller by Matthew Rosenberg. Got some awesome covers for that. This was out 2 weeks ago, but our copies came late. We've got the new Mark Millar, Vatican City, Vampires versus takes over the church? I don't remember. Vampires in the church. We've got Mark Russell's Police, which was a backup story in a different AWA thing, now collected completely. We've got a wonderful little horror from Michael Conrad and Dave Chisholm. Just really beautifully drawn, really spooky stuff. Again, probably getting a couple of copies of issue 2 and then no issue 3s for the shelf. That is where we're going with single issues. The Great British Bump Off. The great John Allison brings the wonderful Shauna Wickel back to murder mystery on a boat, a baking boat this time rather than a baking show. Genesis, I don't know how much you're asking. What is? All the comics range anywhere from $3.99 to $7.99 based on their cover price. Fire and Ice get a new miniseries. Unfortunately, Natasha Bustos is not returning on the art, though they did get Donson on the cover again, and Joanna Starr is writing it again. It's a very interesting time over at DC where they're able to take characters like this who have a small audience. Stephen Byrne is great, though, and give them miniseries after miniseries, just enough to keep them going. Archie and Friends Level Up, classic Archie anthology now. It's themed. It's based on games, something that's going to be in movies, and it has one new story and two old stories. Amazing Spider-Man #1, the new Spider-Man run. We do not have Invincible comics currently in stock. We were waiting for a restock of all the Invincible volumes that we ordered, but they went out of print as soon as they shipped us out the last time they had them. It's a classic issue with Invincible. Amazing Spider-Man does have some great covers. I think my favorite is this Lee Bergman one, except for the shoes, because how the heck is his foot using his sticky superpowers? See, look at the hands. See how it's supposed to be so thin that you sort of get the heat of his fingers from there? The gloves need that too. The feet need that too. But whatever. I like the cover in general. And then we've got the Superman Superstars 2-part G. Willow Wilson and, oh man, I forgot his name again. Evan Javier Guidry doing a wonderful little 2-part Superman story. Clark Kent gets sent to a story in the Antarctic. Gavin Guidry. I am a nerd, Joe. It's true. It's true. So that's a great little one that we're stocking just because Willow is one of my favorite writers. But even something that I'm pushing on people and saying they should definitely jump on this, we got like 4 shelf copies. And 2 of the people who picked up stuff this week grabbed it. Why did I get extra Batman and Robin #20? What's the big deal? So let's look at the regular A cover. The regular A cover has Robin's name crossed out here, but it also tells us that it's drawn by the great Junie Ba. So just open this book. Look at this art right on the page 1. This is apparently from the Journal of Thomas Wayne. Damian's been kidnapped. Bruce is trying to find him. This is based on the diary of Damian Wayne. Just awesome Junie Ba art throughout this book. Batman and Robin has been a really fun run, so I thought we would give people a chance to jump onto this latest storyline. And that's really it. That's all the new single issues. And I feel really weird because I've talked about this numerous times. There are a whole bunch of comic shops out there talking about how Ultimate and Absolute and the new X-Men books and all of those are just doing incredible business for them. But look behind me. Look at this shop. This shop is all graphic novels. No toys, no cards. I mean, well, we got a 10-cent box of old Marvel cards, but you know what I mean. No card games. We don't have any of that stuff. And so what we're trying to do is not just sell Absolute and Ultimate and not just sell. I mean, look, these are my new single issues from the last few months. Then you get a second one over here. #1s and one-shots, right? If you know the rearrange. And that's it. The kids section has a place for single issues that come out after they're new, and everything else is used. Everything else is collections. Everything else is stuff that's left over. That is not acceptable. That Absolute, Ultimate, and the X-Men books are getting new people jumping on them. It's not enough to keep a shop going that's trying to get people to buy things to read, to trying to stock a wide range of stuff for every kind of reader. I just think it's really interesting. I know 2 or 3 other stores that are, again, I don't think any of them, like mine, are like 95% comic books, but they're 80% comic books. They're 75% comic books. And they're really struggling right now because people are not coming out. They're not spending their money. I know I did my tax return, got it all filed today. Because, again, I have a bunch of children. I have a bunch of children and I don't make a lot of money. So we're getting a tiny little refund. It's not going to be spent on fun things. It's going to pay bills. So it's a scary time. It's a scary time to be a retailer at all. As I said at the beginning, the current thinking, The ABA put out a statement this morning, yesterday. The current thinking is that the tariffs will not affect books, but it will affect everything else. It will affect how people spend their money. It will affect where people spend their money. It will affect so many factors that it's hurtful. It's definitely affecting our business, all the economic instability. You combine that with the fact that in the current environment, when they talk about people getting into comics and jumping on things, Absolute, Ultimate, all those, you have to then keep the customer in line. I've had at least 3 customers who jumped on the Ultimate line, who came in because of Ultimates and added Ultimates again, drop out in the year since Ultimate started. It's hard to keep people on the hook who aren't habitual shoppers. What do I mean by habitual shoppers? I don't mean habitual comic book shoppers. I don't mean that they habitually buy comic books as much as they schedule their life around buying things rather than just buying stuff on an app when they click it. And more people in their 20s, they just buy stuff on their apps when they click it. And that makes them, it's true. The people who I have had fall off of comics, it used to be teenagers all the time. It used to be guys in their 50s and 40s. Now it's almost completely people in their late 20s. They just can't seem to get on the fence about going and picking stuff up. But there's also the fact that, look, here's the stuff we put out last week, right? We put out the new Free For All. This is a wonderful book. You'll Do Bad Things, Vampirella, The Mummy, Star Trek, Resurrection. Man, this is an amazing team. The team that did so many great books. Anand, RK, and Ram V, who've done amazing work together. We got John Jennings and I think it's Kevin Morales on Ironheart. It's great stuff. And we have customers coming in and they are not going, whoa, gotta grab that. Oh, I gotta get this one. I'll give you the best example. So I saw a post this morning from a big comic shop, a 30-year-old comic shop. But again, 40% comics, maybe? Right. Jim Lee is good for the comic industry because he has been selling a buttload of this. The new Hush, Hush 2. Okay? Do you think I've been selling a buttload of Hush, Hush 2? Now, again, we got a giant bundle of them at a very cheap price, so we haven't lost any money on this great big comic event that everyone's talking about. But we actually haven't really turned any profit on it. Because we were told, and I'm still being told, this is the hot thing, this is the big thing, everyone's going to come out of the woodwork who hasn't bought comics in years, and they're going to... Yeah, we had like 4 people do that. Now, I'm not throwing shade at the 35-year-old comic shop. I'm sure this is true. I'm sure this book is selling really well for a lot of shops. Maybe I have the wrong kind of shop. Maybe I've made a humongous mistake in the last 12 years how we arrange things, and I should have been a shop that mainly sold toys and merchandise and then just tried to push superhero nonsense on people. But we shall see. Hey, Nora. All right. Let me head off. I'm going to talk about how good Free Cone Day was. For you, I hope.
Yes.
And yeah, if you see anything that you want, let me know. Until tomorrow, remember, damn it, babies, you got to be kind. That is the most amount of people that have stayed on a live stream of mine.